Let's get things out of the way first of all. I didn't actually watch the preseason game last night against the LA Kings in Salt Lake City, Utah. I had a few advertising, policy, ethics, regulations, and business communications assignments that I needed to work on. It's kind of a busy life I've started up here now that I'm out of high school, but nevertheless, some intriguing comments coming from Alex Auld in regards to last night's game. I'm disappointed in Virtanen. He scored a ton of goals in junior, but it has not translated to the NHL. He looks like he is comfortable to be in the NHL. He is not showing the desperation needed. And this is an entirely new argument that brings itself up on the cusp of Auld's comments over here. Is Jake Virtanen a disappointment? I think the immediate answer to that question is yes, because the guys taken after him are significantly better than him. I think just based off of that pure factor alone, who is the better player, Virtanen or Nylander, Virtanen or Ehlers? It is definitively yes, Virtanen is a disappointment in this context. However though, in the context of the Vancouver Canucks have a young guy that they want to bring into the lineup and they want to succeed into the future, is Virtanen a disappointment? And obviously, you could debate a little bit more heavily on this one. Either he is because, as Auld said, he's not showing the necessary steps that are needed in order to progress forward. He's just comfortable. And at 22 years of age, that's not something you want to be. On the contrary, though, you could say, yeah, well, he's in the NHL. He's found himself an NHL role. At 22 years of age, that's good. The Vancouver Canucks drafted an NHL player with their 6th overall pick. That perspective indicates an idea of literally, Virtanen made the NHL, he is not a bust because he's in the NHL and he's finding ways to actually show that he should probably stay in the NHL, at least in a middle bottom 6 role. So obviously there are many perspectives in the ideas here regarding Jake Virtanen, but the perspective that Auld is coming from, in my point of view, it's a perspective that's expecting more out of Virtanen. A perspective that brings to light the idea that, yeah, he was drafted 6th, and 6th overall is usually a good player. I mean, it's a top 10 pick, right? Look at the guys after him. Virtanen probably has to have that ability to go forward even higher, right? And in that context, it's easy to understand why Auld is calling him a disappointment. And obviously, Alex Auld is not like a slug of a human being. I'm not saying anything about him or about Virtanen. I'm just dissecting the plays right here and the comments made. Jake Virtanen is a player who needs to progress upward and he needs to showcase the ideal situation for him, which is being the WHL player in the NHL. And I think a lot of people looking at him when he was drafted kind of anticipated or expected this to come. I saw it a little bit after Virtanen was drafted that, yeah, no, his style in the WHL most likely will not translate, and kudos to the ones who believed that, because right now we're seeing that it is most likely trending towards that direction. And so, going into next season, I think Jake Virtanen really needs to become that player, which is a complete step up from the one that he was last season. He trended upwards last season. That one indicative moment which allowed him to start scoring goals, which we will not really dissect beyond a few proclamations of him hitting people up in DMs, but other than that, he actually did find himself ways to improve, and obviously the whole thing with Pavel Barber in the offseason, the hardcore training that he was going through with Ben Hutton once in a while, Virtanen really put himself in a position where he showcased throughout the summer, yes, he absolutely wants this job, and he wants to do it well. He wants to do it to the extent that the Vancouver Canucks wanted him to upon drafting him. But these few preseason games have honestly been kind of bad for everybody except for Elias Pettersson. So, take Auld's comments, I guess, with a little bit more of a grain of salt than I've presented throughout this video, because, as I did say, this whole preseason has been kind of bad. So, calling out a few individual players for not being better than last year, I don't know if it's 100% fair, but who am I to say anything about a professional analyst who played in the National Hockey League for a few years? Jake Virtanen, is he a disappointment? There are many perspectives to take a look at when you come to answer this question, but I want to hand this over to you guys. Alex Auld's comments. What do you guys think? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Plus, you can touch Control 69 Gaming, and bye.